Welcome. Today we're going to be diving into how to become a visionary, which really means more of how to scale your impact and lead change. So stick around because I'm going to be covering with you 6 very impactful steps and tools and techniques to help you move from impacting those in your immediate circle to impacting on a much larger scale and making a more lasting difference in people's lives. Now, these are the strategies that I would coach you through and take you through if you were here in my office with me working one-on-one. So they're going to be packed with tons of high value and things that you could go and implement today. So let me set the stage and start to see if this is the right video for you by asking a few questions. And if they resonate with you, you're in the right place. So have you ever felt like your gifts, your superpowers that you have could be impacting more people than they currently are? Do you ever look at leaders or change makers, and ever wonder like, hey, how did they go from helping out the few to changing entire communities or industries? And really more importantly to that is, like, could I do the same? Could I be in the same place as where they are? I mean, if you ever thought these sort of questions, then yes, you are in the right place, because I know many of you have discovered your unique gifts and superpowers, possibly through the GIVER method or through some other means, and you're already trying to make that impact. Now, that could be one conversation that you're having, through the one act of generosity you're doing, or through one relationship at a time. But today, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to start to think bigger than that. Like, what if you could take what you're already doing and amplify it exponentially? What if instead of only impacting a few, you could start orchestrating some large-scale transformation, not just touching lives, but reshaping entire systems or communities or industries? That's what it means when people start to transition from being a giver into becoming an impact maker. It's about stepping into this role of being a visionary, someone that doesn't just create impact, but builds systems that multiply their impact exponentially. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and author of The GIVER Method, a book that's available on Amazon. I will put a link in the description so you can go get it. It is an Amazon bestseller. Go get it. It'll change your life. It has massive impact for people. At the same time, if you want, you can also, in the description towards the top, I'll put a link to our free guide that we have. It's called The Giver's Roadmap. It kind of frames up some of the initial concepts of the GIVER method and helps give you actionable steps that you could go do immediately for that. So if you want to get access to that, check the description. There'll be a link to the GIVER Roadmap. Also, if you want the full book, then you can go onto Amazon and get access to that. Now, over time, I've helped countless people discover their gifts and superpowers and learn how to amplify their impact and start creating more lasting change. So I want to help guide you through those things today. Before we dive in though, if you're new here, please go ahead and hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. We don't want you to miss out on any of the content we have about discovering, developing, and even maximizing your gifts and superpowers and creating more meaningful impact. If you've ever felt that tug at your heart that's calling you to do more, to reach more, to create something bigger than yourself, then stick around because this is for you. So let's go ahead and dive into these things and start identifying these ways that you can really start maximizing your impact. The first one is about expanding your vision from individual impact to systematic change. Many people who are embracing giving as a focus, they focus on the direct one-to-one impact they can have in someone's life. They see a need, and then they step in to help and create some immediate change for them. Now, this kind of personal connection is extremely powerful. It's the whole concept behind the GIVER Method book and something I preach for people to do. But there is that next level, one that allows the ripple effect of generosity to extend far beyond the individual. It's what I call being an impact maker. It's someone who moves from helping one person at a time to designing solutions and addressing larger systematic challenges. This transition not only becomes about doing more, but thinking differently and recognizing the patterns in the challenges people face and structuring solutions that don't just alleviate the problem temporarily, but actually solve them at scale. Expanding your vision means looking bigger at the much bigger picture and seeing where your gifts and skills and knowledge will create structural changes, allowing more people to benefit without your direct involvement every single time. Instead of constantly putting out fires, you start asking like, well, what's causing the fire in the first place? If you repeatedly find yourself helping people navigate particular challenges, it's time you think about how you could develop frameworks and programs or platforms to address those root issues. This is where you shift from that individual impact to a more systematic change, and where that impact starts to really take effect. So what you want to do is look for pattern recognition, and this is an exercise you can do to develop your vision that extends beyond personal giving. So start by tracking your current impact and identifying what are the recurring themes. Over maybe the next 2 weeks, keep in a journal, what patterns you're starting to recognize. Write down every instance where you help someone or mentor someone or provide value. Be very specific what the issue was that they were facing. How did you help, and what was the outcome that was achieved? At the end of the 2 weeks, go through the entries and look for those patterns. Are you consistently solving the same types of problems? Are people asking you for guidance in a particular area? Once you start to see what those patterns are, take your insights and start to think of like, how could I map scalability to this? How do I create maybe even a visual representation of how to take that one-to-one giving and turn it into something that serves many? If you notice that people frequently come to you for advice on, let's say, public speaking, think about creating a workshop or maybe online training series or mentoring people, that teaches them how to do that. If your strength is helping others, in nonprofits raise funds, then hey, develop repeatable fundraising systems or an online toolkit that could be shared beyond your immediate reach. There's all sorts of ways that could show up for people. Without vision expansion, your impact will always be limited by the time and energy and capacity that you have. You may touch many lives, which is great, and do it in such meaningful ways, but your reach will be constrained, by the number of people that you can physically help in a day. When you start looking for the patterns and designing these repeatable solutions, you move from a reactionary impact, helping when people ask, to proactive influence, where you're building those structures that address challenges at their core. It allows you to create long-term and sustainable change. The difference between being a giver and stepping into the role of being an impact maker, it's shifting your mindset and expanding your vision. You're going to open the door to building something that lasts, something that just continues creating change long after you've moved on to whatever your next mission is. Now, the second one is that you have to think system design. What are the frameworks that I can build that have lasting impact? Because many people with a giving mindset, can focus on the direct impact. They offer guidance, mentorship, support, one person at a time. While this approach is really meaningful, it does have those limitations. There are only so many hours in the day. If impact depends solely on your personal involvement, it will always be restricted to your time and energy. So system design is that process of turning what you do naturally into more structured and repeatable models that others can follow and benefit from without your constant presence. So instead of helping people when they ask, then you think about how you could create tools or programs or frameworks that empower them to help themselves or others. When you design these systems, you move beyond being just a giver, and you bring in an architect of impact into it. This is the difference between giving someone a meal or creating a program that teaches people how to grow their own food. System design is about sustainability. It ensures your knowledge, your methods, your guidance will continue to serve people long after you've stepped away. So what you want to do is just think about it from this perspective. How do I want to design a system for impact. And so I want to document exactly how you are helping people. Break down what the approach is into, a structured process. Outline steps that you could take, when mentoring or problem solving or delivering value to people. It can be as simple as writing down the questions you ask, the techniques you use, and the principles you apply in that interaction. And as you identify maybe consistent patterns in the way you help others, you create that blueprint that's shared and can be replicated to others. Once you have a framework, the next step is to transform that into a scalable format. This could be a training program, a step-by-step playbook, an online course, or even a book. Yesterday, the video I did was all about how to monetize your gifts. This concept where we're at, that's where you could also start to look at monetization of this type of stuff as well. You could do if your gift is coaching, consider launching a group program where you could work with people. If you have a unique method for solving problems, turn that into a self-guided workbook. Just start whatever it is, start small. Test your system with a handful of people, gather some feedback, refine it, and then expand your reach over time. Because without structured systems, your impact will always remain in that limited scale like we talked about. What this does is system design ensures that your work continues to grow and evolve, allowing more people to benefit from your insights without that constant involvement. It creates consistency, ensures that people, who engage with your work receive the same quality of guidance no matter, when or how they interact with it. Beyond scalability, the system design helps to leave that lasting legacy. The most influential leaders or educators, change makers out there, they're people who built frameworks and tools that could be passed on and expanded to others. When you create structures in this way, it allows the others to adopt it, refine it, and build upon your work. You ensure that your vision, your mission, the purpose and values you have live on, making an impact at a scale greater than you could ever do alone. Now, our third step is going to be multiplying your impact through mentorship. Now, mentorship and even building movements where possible. Givers make a difference in people's lives through that direct action. They support, they encourage, they uplift individuals through one-on-one engagements, ensuring each person they help feels valued and empowered. But impact makers take it one step further, not just helping, but teaching others how to give, how to create that ripple effect that extends beyond their immediate reach. This is the difference between helping a handful of people and empowering a network of change makers who could, reach thousands. Mentorship and movement building, they're essential for scaling your impact. Instead of solely focusing on the individual acts, impact makers look for the ways to replicate their impact through others. They become teachers or mentors or architects for change, ensuring that the knowledge they have and the systems that they create are passed down, that they're refined, that they're expanded upon for future generations of leaders. When that's done effectively, it leads to sustainable change. As mentees take on leadership roles, they launch their own initiatives and build from the original mission in a unique and powerful way. And so the first step for multiplying your impact in this way is identifying and investing in the right people. Look for individuals who share your mission, demonstrate commitment, and have the potential to influence others. It could be peers or, emerging leaders in your field, or people you've already benefited from your guidance in the past, and are ready to pay it forward to someone else. By choosing to develop these individuals, you are going to build a network of trusted change makers who could carry that message on and create a vision, into places that you may never be able to reach. And once you identify who these people could be, create structured systems to mentor them. It could take many forms depending on your strengths or the available resources that you may have. The goal is to equip others with your knowledge and the confidence and the structure needed to make an impact in their own way. Because true impact isn't measured solely by what you do personally, but it's defined by what continues even in your absence. Without any sort of a mentorship or movement building, your influence remains dependent on that direct involvement, which is, limiting what we can all achieve. Building a network of change makers, it creates that innovation, that diversity of your impact. Each mentee brings their own strengths or perspectives or experiences to the table, which means that the movement evolves and adapts and expands in ways greater than one person could ever achieve alone. So this is how great ideas become sustainable movements. You equipped others to take ownership and to innovate and to push the mission forward. Now, our fourth one is all about strategic partnerships, for exponential growth. Movements don't grow in isolation. Every major initiative, cause, or industry shift has begun and have been fueled by the power of collaboration. Visionaries who create large-scale impact understand that working alone limits their reach, their resources, and the influence that they could have. When you build the right strategic partnerships, you don't just expand your network, but you multiply your effectiveness well beyond your reach. Strategic partnerships is more than just a handshake agreement. It is that alignment with purpose, where each side brings something unique to the table, creating a collective force that accelerates change. Partnerships allow you to reach new audiences, share your expertise, and tap into resources that might have taken years to develop on your own. And so instead of trying to build an entire movement from scratch, strategic alliances provide access to existing infrastructures, networks, and funding. By aligning with the right people or organizations, you create opportunities for shared learning, for innovation, and for long-term sustainability, whether it's co-hosted events, collaborative projects, or resource sharing initiatives. Partnerships are the fast track to your mission, going from an idea to a movement. And so the first step, you got to form some sort of a partnership. It's pretty simple. Find the right people and organizations to connect with. Create a partnership impact map, a structured approach where you could outline who you want to collaborate with and why you want to collaborate with them. Maybe write down 5 to 10 individuals or organizations whose missions align with yours, whether it be nonprofits, business owners, educators, community organizers. People are already making waves in a similar space. Ask yourself, who's already doing, work that complements what I'm doing? Who has resources or audience that could help amplify my impact? Who could benefit from my expertise? And once you've identified those, take the first step is, reaching out, propose ways to collaborate and create mutual benefit. co-hosted initiatives, workshops, resource sharing. Instead of leading with a request, lead with value. Show how the partnership can support their goals without serving, while serving a broader vision. And set up an individual meeting to discuss how you could align your efforts from there. Develop structured plans that ensure the partnership leads to action, not just discussions, because that's where a lot of those things start to fall apart over time. Without a strategic partnership, scaling movements is slow and resources are, harder to come by. When you work alone, you're responsible for every aspect of the growth. But when you build a strategic alliance, you create that network effect where each partner brings something valuable, allowing you to focus on what you do best while benefiting from the strengths of others. These alliances, they provide really long-term sustainabilities. Many great ideas fail not because they lack merit, but because they just lack the right support. Strong partnerships will always help ensure that your work outlives your personal involvement. They create structures where others continue to advance that mission forward in that sort of a way. Now, the fifth one is how you look at leadership positioning and thought leadership. Creating large-scale change requires more than just doing the work. It requires positioning yourself as a leader who others are going to turn to for guidance and strategy and insight. Thought leadership, it's about more than just expertise. It's about having a clear vision of the future and the ability to really communicate that in a way that's going to inspire others to take action. Those who become recognized throughout, who become recognized as thought leaders don't just share knowledge. They shape conversations, they influence decision makers, they drive movements to create lasting impact. Becoming a thought leader isn't about self-promotion, it's about stepping into that role where your voice carries the weight that it should, and it helps shift the direction of industries or communities or causes. This could be creating content, it could be sharing insights, it could be engaging in discussions that help others see new possibilities. So whether that's through writing or speaking or media presence, establishing yourself as a thought leader allows your ideas to travel further, reach more people, and inspire greater change than you could ever think. So you establish yourself in this sort of a mind frame, you got to be clearly define the key areas or insights that you want to be known for. Identify the unique perspectives that you bring to an area of impact. What problems are you solving? What shifts in thinking can you create? What conversations do you want to lead? The more specific, the more consistent your message is, the easier it becomes to, for people to recognize you as an authority in your space. Once you have clarity of message, create whatever that platform is to share your insights. I do things like write articles. I wrote my book. I do put out downloads, PDFs. I do videos. You could do research reports. All sorts of ways to document your expertise. You could speak at conferences or summits, industry events, position yourself as a go-to expert among professionals or change makers. You could do podcasts, video series, all sorts of media platforms that allow you to engage your audience directly, build credibility, and shape, the public discourse on topics that matter to you. The key is that consistency and committing to sharing valuable insights regularly, being present in spaces where conversations about change are happening. Thought leadership is essential because people follow those who articulate what they believe in clearly. If you want to create a large scale impact, you must, you got to be seen as someone with knowledge, vision, with some sort of experience to lead others in a direction. And when you become the person who consistently shares solutions, you inspire new ways of thinking. It provides actionable guidance. You build trust and credibility. It attracts more opportunities, partnerships, or influence. It's beyond personal credibility. Thought leadership allows you to scale your message in ways that direct work never could. A single keynote speech could inspire thousands. A book could influence generations. A podcast or video series that can spread the message across the globe. When your ideas are documented and widely shared, they take on a new life of their own, reaching people in ways that create this ripple effect far beyond your own personal reach. That's how movements grow. That's how industries evolve and how lasting change is created. And then, of course, the sixth thing is, you have to measure your impact so that you can amplify it. One of the biggest misconceptions about impact is that it's impossible to measure. Many people believe that acts of generosity, leadership, transformation are intangible, and something that can only be felt rather than quantified. While there's a little bit of truth to the idea that human development and connection, inspiration can't always be, reduced down to some sort of a number, true impact makers know that what gets measured gets amplified. And if you track your growth, effectiveness, your reach, you can refine that strategy and expand your influence and create greater change. When you begin documenting your transformation, you're going to shift from hoping, you're making a difference to knowing exactly how you're making a difference. That clarity, it fuels the momentum that you could have. It allows you to make more informed decisions, to demonstrate the value of your work to others, to inspire, new supporters. Without a clear understanding of your impact, opportunities for growth can go overlooked, and lessons from the past successes may be forgotten. Real visionary leaders don't just measure their work, they use that measurement to amplify, to adjust, and to create ever-expanding ripples. And so what you want to do is, track and amplify your impact. You're gonna have to have some sort of a structured approach that balances both data and storytelling. Simple system that includes impact. What's my impact dashboard, data bank? Where's my story bank? Two tools that you could use to give a complete picture of the difference you're making. So if you think of like the impact bank or impact dashboard, it focuses on those tangible metrics, while a story bank captures real life transformations behind those numbers. So when you build any sort of like an impact bank, identify what are the key performance indicators that reflect real transformation. It could be number of people trained or mentored. It could be policies influenced, community initiatives launched, revenue generated from mission-driven projects. Regularly review these metrics to keep your efforts aligned with your larger goal, helping you see where you could scale and where you could refine. The story bank, on the other hand, ensures that the heart of your mission isn't lost in the numbers. You collect testimonials, case studies, personal transformations from those who've been impacted, whether it's through a video interview, written narratives, photo journals, stories that just become a powerful tool to inspire action and rally people to your cause. You implement this sort of a system. You set aside dedicated time each month to track and document the progress of those things. How do I take the data and put it where I can store it and review it? How do I, take the stories and put them in a place where I can find them easily? And then establish framework, behind those stories. You could, what was the biggest struggle before you were working, before working with you? How did your, work help shift their mindset or the opportunities or the outcomes they had? What does what does their life look like now? Once you have data and stories, start sharing that impact publicly. Social media, blog posts, newsletters, speeches, to showcase the results. It's not about self-promotion. It's about inviting others to be part of something bigger. When people see concrete proof of transformation, they're way more likely to support your cause, whether it's through donations, partnerships, or simply spreading the word. Transparency builds credibility, and credibility fuels growth. Measuring and sharing your impact isn't just about proving effectiveness, it's about ensuring sustainability. When you have that clear data and compelling stories, you can create, you can make strong case for, funding or strategic partnerships or expanding opportunities, whether, you could be applying for a grant or building a movement, scaling organizations. People want to invest in causes that create real and measurable change for them. So by tracking progress, you provide that undeniable proof of the work that you're doing is worth supporting. Now, beyond that external validation, measurement also fuels your internal growth. It allows you to refine your approach and adjust strategy and focus on what truly works. Without tracking, you might just continue pouring energy into efforts that yield limited results while overlooking some of the bigger opportunities to expand your successful initiatives. So with clear insights, you direct your time, your resources, and collaborations towards the areas that generate the greatest impact. Perhaps the most important reason to measure and amplify your impact is the inspiration it provides to others. Movements grow when other people believe that it's real. And by consistently showcasing transformation through numbers and through personal stories, you not only strengthen your credibility, but also motivate others to step forward and contribute. People want to be a part of something that makes a difference, and your data and storytelling invites them to join in on that mission and ensuring that your impact continues to expand beyond what you could ever achieve alone. The journey from being a giver to an impact maker is one of the most rewarding transformations that you're going to undertake. It's about it's about taking your gifts and, developing them, and then, looking at the impact that you're creating already, and then finding ways to multiply it many times over. Remember, it isn't about abandoning the giving nature in any way. It's about finding the ways to give, to create, to have systematic change. Each principle, each step we talked about today builds upon the foundation of the GIVER method while helping you to reach more people and create a deeper impact. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper into these ideas that are a part of Impact Maker or a part of the GIVER method, then go to the description and either grab your copy of the GIVER method from Amazon, or go download the GIVER's roadmap, which is free, and start diving into that stuff. That's going to help strengthen your foundation, as you begin your journey towards a larger scale impact. Now, if this video helped you in any way, then give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who may benefit from it, and leave a comment below telling me which of these things resonated the most with you and how you plan to implement it. Sometimes what you share will help inspire others to do the same. And so with that, I'll just say until next time, please just keep growing and keep giving, and remember that your gifts have the power to transform not just individuals, but entire communities and systems. The world needs your vision and leadership. So let's go out there and make that greater impact and invite the universe to continue to pay us back by being generous with our gifts and superpowers. So have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in our next video.